Welcome to the March 26th regular meeting of the Chambersburg Area School Board. We have 3 members absent tonight, Mr. Norcross, Dr. Diller, and Mr. Walker are absent, but we do have a quorum. Join me with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. There was no executive session tonight to report. 2.03, we have the approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda or to have it amended?
Okay, I'd like to pull 5.13 from the consent agenda, please.
Is there any discussion on pulling that item from the agenda? All in favor of, need a second for that motion?
Second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And so do I hear a motion then to approve the amended agenda? Second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The 3.01 President's Report as Vice President, I'd like to recognize the continued transparency of various aspects of the district operations under the leadership of Mr. Bigger, and the willingness to respond openly at the public forums is very refreshing. The limitation of public comment at board meetings has been troubling to many members of the community over the years. This forum provides for that interaction. Secondly, the depth of research that was completed for the state of the schools and district reflects the desire of the superintendent and the school board to face the good, bad, and ugly. Often data is cherry-picked to support the viewpoint of an individual or is couched in the rose-colored glasses of those who prefer to highlight the glows without honestly recognizing the lows that are part of everyone's reality. If you did not have an opportunity to hear his report at the Committee of the Whole 2 weeks ago, I encourage you to listen to it on YouTube or to read the 48-page document that's available on the district website. The report ends with a clear pathway to a 5-year development plan that will encompass the feasibility study and the 2030 blueprint for schools of distinction that is outlined in the next steps found on the final page. In addition, the exploratory visits to various schools that are implementing methods that might help to resolve some of our educational challenges in our district are creating excitement among educators and community members who recognize that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. Change is not a season, it's a way of life, is a motto that I've embraced in my life, and I think that that is what we need to recognize is that we are going to see changes. Changes are not always comfortable. As a matter of fact, my grandfather served on a neighboring school board when one-room schools were being closed in the 1950s, and I remember him talking about the resistance to consolidation back then. I hope that as board members and concerned community members, we will embrace the research that is guiding the development of the 2030 Blueprint for Schools of Distinction. We must support what is best for all students, not just those who reside in our region or who attend the schools our children or grandchildren attend. Thank you for attending tonight's meeting and caring about the educational excellence that is the goal of our dedicated employees. 3.02 is the superintendent's report, and Mr. Bigger is not here, and so Mr. Woodman is filling in his place.
I'm going to report on two things tonight. The first is a grant that we applied for. It's called the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. It's a federal grant. It's from 2022. It provides historic funding to support state educational agencies, local education agencies, and schools in establishing safe, healthy, and supportive learning opportunities and environments. Our allotment after our local non-public school share will be $1,594,682. I would like to thank Bobby Stein for entering all the information my team provided her to apply for the grant. She has been a huge part of the success of the ESSER grants, the PCCD state safety grants, and now this Bipartisan Safety Communities Act, or BSCA, through the federal government. The bulk of the grant money will support the educational spaces that we have built at the DAO here at the end of the building for 2 years. The three areas of focus are students that are suspended 3 to 10 days will report to the DAO to do their schoolwork rather than being suspended at home where a lot of times they weren't doing any of their work. The second part, the students that are a detriment to their learning and others' learning will work in a behavior classroom in the hopes that they will have intrinsic motivation to get back with their peers, it being the cash is being right across the street. This is a step prior to an outside placement. And then classroom 3 will be devoted to students that are way behind on earning credits. These students typically are habitually truant and don't want to be in high school or the CMS. Mr. Bigger did want me to kind of get a head nod of approval if the board members are okay with us starting to work on bidding documents for that space. So he asked me tonight if that would be okay if the business office and myself work on getting bidding documents for that space. So I'm seeing pretty much head nods from everybody. I'll let him know that, and we will be bringing that board item forward to approve the bids at a future meeting. So thank you. In the grant, there's also money earmarked to support PBIS in schools. That is positive behavior, interventions, and supports. It's an evidence-based tiered framework that our elementaries all have been using, but they've been implementing pretty much without any financial support. But it's to support behavior, academic, social, emotional, and mental health. When implemented with fidelity, PBIS improves social, emotional competence, academic success, and school climate. And the last piece of the BSCA grant will support our Back on Track program for students that are truant at grades 9 through 12. We have been using ESSER monies the last 3 years to support those students in after-school tutoring, and we're going to continue to do that for the next 2 years through that grant. So we're very pleased that after applying that we were awarded the grant money. The next part is another very positive thing. You see a couple banners up here that we received. Dr. Long hung them so they would straighten out. We are excited to announce that 2 of our schools met the metrics to be recognized as one of the best elementary and best high schools in Pennsylvania through U.S. News and World Reports. To qualify, the school needs to rank in the top 40% in your respected state. So congratulations to the staff and administration at Hamilton Heights Elementary School and the staff and administration at the Career Magnet School. Well deserved. So, yeah. At this time, I would ask that we'll take a little break and have Vice President Mrs. Faye Gogler and the rest of our board present the awards to Michelle Holtry, Principal of Hamilton Heights, and her staff. We're going to ask that you folks come up first, and then we'll do CMS second. So if you folks would come up, that would be great. And if board members, you want to come out and meet the staff? Unfortunately, due to the copyright laws, we're okay if the public takes some photos, but we cannot put photos of this on our website because of they want us to pay a licensing fee to do so. So they're going to hang in our schools.
I assume where all these people are.
All right, Michelle, you gotta face this way. All right. I think I got 3 or 4 pictures. Congratulations. Michelle, there's a box there.
Or is they taking it with them?
We'd also like to have Mr. Sean Stenger, Principal CMS, and any of his staff that we have here to come up.
We're skilled now. Well, everybody. Go ahead, you hold this.
I got it.
There we go. There we go.
Sean, I'll give this to you then. Everybody look this way, all right. Get a few, 1, 2, 3. I got 4 of them.
All right, thank you.
Even better, we had a couple students from CMS in the picture tonight, so thank you, students, for being here. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Congratulations to both schools. 3.03 is the student government and NJORTC reports, and looks like NJORTC is first. From the side.
The microphone over there.
First thing I want to say is good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Cadet Bridenstine, and I am the Public Affairs Officer of the Cassius NJROTC at the high school. And the first thing I want to say about the briefing is taking us the whole way back to November 18th in 2023. We went to the Colts Neck drill meet, and that was basically a drill meet for us to compete in. It was actually, it would have really helped us to go to Florida if we would have seen, or we would have placed a higher placing in the drill meet. And the scores for that drill meet would be 6th place for personal inspections, 2nd place in physical fitness, 1st place in color guard, unarmed regulation was 2nd place, armed regulation 2nd place, unarmed exhibition 2nd place, armed exhibition 2nd place, the academic team 2nd place, and the overall was 2nd place. And then you can go to the next slide. And then the next thing I want to present is the winter formal on December 13th, 2023. And this was basically just like a thing we organized for our cadets to get together and have like a memorable gathering. And then the Cassius drill meet was a drill meet that we actually hosted, and we had multiple schools come to this, including schools from Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland, all throughout around us. The event concluded with Colts Neck securing the top position and earning them a really well-deserved congratulations. And then for our December community services, our cadets raised hundreds of community service hours supporting the Salvation Army by ringing the bell at Hobby Lobby and Walmart, supporting the annual Trojan Wars wrestling tournament at Cassius. And then the next thing we have is the West Point tour, and our cadets visited the United States Military Academy at West Point on January 26th. Although the weather was dreary and the tours and activities were upbeat and interesting, we would like to extend our gratitude to Major Simpson and Cadet Fabignac for guiding us during the West Point tour. Next thing is the Passaic drill meet. The Chambersburg cadets have trained very hard all year and showed their best at the Northeast Regional Drill Meet Championship on January 27th. They earned 4th place overall, showing among a very competitive field. Our color guard was earned a perfect score and was ranked #1 color guard in the Northeast United States. Although the team did not qualify for nationals, they had a successful day showcasing dedication and effort. Next slide, please. The Notre Dame Brain Brawl was when the academic team participated in the Northeast Regional Brain Brawl Championship on February 3rd, 2024. At Notre Dame High School, the Utisha, New York competition was still, and our team earned an overall ranking of 4th place. Next slide, please. The middle school visit. On February 8th, throughout the 16th, students from Camp South and Camp North visited the Chambersburg Area Senior High School. Throughout the day, the cadets had toured the whole high school, and they kind of learned how like a typical day would go at Cash's, just learning how it would go. They visited the NJROTC areas, music rooms, etc. Next slide, please. Sterling Drill Meet 2024. The Sterling Drill Meet had over 40 cadets participate in this drill. They competed against 11 other schools and managed to secure the 2nd place overall position in the varsity division. And then also we had first-year cadets, which are cadets their first year in the program, compete for their very first time in an actual drill meet. 8 of them competed in this drill meet, and they had never competed in anything like this before. It was their first time doing anything like this, and it was really hard for them to learn all of these things that even older cadets in the program are just learning how to do. Next slide, please. The passing review / the AMI. On March 1st, 2024, all cadets took part in the 9th annual passing review ceremony to commemorate the 10th year anniversary of the Cash's NJROTC alumni. Family and friends were urged to attend and witness the program's growth and success for over the years. Next slide, please. The Cash's Rifle Meet. Cash's NJROTC organized the rifle meet on March 16th, 2024, which features these cadet results. Cadet Ashley was 2nd place, Cadet Emmons was 6th place, Cadet Moon with 29th place, Cadet Murray with 30th place, and Cadet Hughes with 31st place. Naval Academy trip. On March 19, 2024, by Shippensburg Educational Study Council. As an exceptional educational program, Cash's had 2 programs selected. This recognition, the NJROTC and the school to work internship partnership with JLG. Next slide, please. Upcoming events in 2024. The Cookie Dough Pickup, which is March 28th, 2024. The Honor Roll Trip, April 10th, 2024. April 18th, Penn State NJROTC NJROTC trip. And then April 26th, the Cash's JROTC ball. And then if anybody has any other questions for the briefing, I can speak for you now.
I'd just like to make a comment.
Okay.
So about a week ago, don't remember the day, but it was a really, really windy day. You probably remember that yourself. And my neighbor flagged me down. She was walking up the sidewalk. She says, "Can you give me a hand?" Her husband had a doctor's appointment. He's lacking some mobility, and he's pretty weak. He's a big guy. She asked if I'd help get him in a car. We got him outside, and we're struggling with the wind and the walker and trying to get him in, and all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, this young cadet shows up. His name was Anthony Espinoza. "Can I help?" he says. Yeah, grabbed this guy's arm, and we got him in, and he said, "Have a blessed day," and he disappeared. As impressed as I was a few weeks ago at the see you execute the drill and ceremony at your passing review, I'm even more impressed. This is the kind of quality of character you're developing in our community, and thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. CMS will be next.
Hello? Okay, sorry. Hi and good evening. My name is Sahira Morel, and I am the CMS president of the student government, and here is our student government report. Next slide, please. So since the last report, we started planning for prom, and our club has also had a field trip and a bake sale. So As of today, our prom set date is April 27th. We have had different committees meeting regularly to plan out and discuss different things that we have planned in advance. And we also having our student DJ this event from our AV club. And our general committee has decided on the theme of Aurora Borealis. Next slide, please. So in the last month, we have also had our environmental club go on a field trip. As a group, they visited the Kings Gap Environmental Education Center, where they completed an orienteering course, and they also toured the Cameron Maslin Mansion and the Mansion Garden. Our Key Club also had a bake sale, which our members brought a lot of homemade goods, so all different sorts of things were brought in. And so they took turns in shifts in order to have people come during lunch and our mentor periods, sorry. And you can skip that slide, sorry. And so in our plans for this coming month, we have graduation planning. Our FCCTC students are going to be attending a competition. Our 9th grade class has an upcoming field trip to Gettysburg. We will also have students attending the Special Olympics here, the NHS induction, NOCTI testing, and Spirit Week. So this upcoming month, we plan to start organizing ourselves regarding graduation and have everyone more or less situated. So our FCCTC students will be attending the Skills USA competition at state level. So Skills USA championships are competitive events showcasing the best career and technical education students in the nation. So contests begin locally and continue through state and national levels, and state winners go on to the national competition. So every year, our early American history class is invited to go on a trip to Gettysburg, where they are guided and toured through the military park, as well as other parts of Gettysburg. So as we've done before, there will be a group of students attending the Special Olympics. We will have students who will be buddies as well as assist in different times and areas of the Special Olympics. We also have a group of students who are mostly part of our video game club who host games for the students, and our art club also attends for face painting, and as always, our students are always appreciative of the invitation given to us. And towards the end of the month, we're having our NHS induction, where the new members of the National Honor Society are inducted and formally introduced as official members. And the NOCTI testing is used to assess students' knowledge and skills needed for a career that correlates with their career and their tech shop. And starting this week, we have a Spirit Week. Today, precisely, teachers have dressed as students, students as teachers, and things of the such. So we are rallying the participants of the Spirit Week days, and the class with the most participants will win a prize. And that has been the report. Thank you.
Thank you. The Cassius representative.
Okay. Oh, hello. Hi, I'm Ellie Kaufman, and I'm the Cassius Student Body President. Next slide, please. So this past month, we saw spring sports become underway, and the following teams are participating regularly, and if you'd like to come see them, our track and field, both boys and girls, lacrosse, both boys and girls, boys tennis, baseball, softball, and boys volleyball. So tomorrow, actually, Miss Donald, Mr. Sherman, and Mr. Cole will be taking 36 student government and IB diploma program students on a field trip to Washington, D.C., where we will visit the National Mall, the United States History Museum, and the Air and Space Museum. And while we're talking about student government, I would like to thank Ms. Gaugler so much for her donation to our Go Trojan Scholarship, because it is now fully endowed and invested, so it can begin to grow and expand, so we can hand out more money as the years go on. So thank you so much. And finally, our drama club will be putting on The Music Man April 19th and 20th. So you guys should come see it. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you for each of you. It's so good to hear about the activities that are going on in the high schools. Number 4.10 or 01, the members of the audience are invited to comment on agenda items. In looking at the sign-in sheet, it doesn't appear as though anyone is planning to speak, but if there's anyone who would like to, we welcome comments. The board recognizes the value to school governance of public comment on educational issues and the importance of involving the members of the public in board meetings. The board also recognizes its responsibility for proper governance of the district and the need to conduct its business in an orderly and efficient manner. It is asked that speakers observe proper decorum by presenting the truth, refrain from sharing personal information and defaming individuals. Please refer to Policy 903 and Privilege of the Floor amended resolution. And the sign-in sheet, as I say, doesn't indicate anyone wants to speak. Moving to the next agenda item, which is the consent agenda. We've pulled 5.13 from the consent agenda. Is there anyone who wishes to have anything else pulled from the consent agenda? Please note that the asterisk items indicate things that were not discussed at the March 12th Committee of the Whole meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda, except for 5.13?
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving then to 5.13, the E-rate purchase of network infrastructure for the maximum of $300,000. Dr. Long or Mr. Woodman, either.
Yes, this is a federal program that we have E-rate. So what we have are quotes that come in for our part of it. And so at the Committee of the Whole, it was $300,000. Then we received an estimate that was $310,000, but finalized an estimate today that we needed another few more dollars on top of $310,000. So we really need another $100 added to that. So it would be $310,100.
Thank you for that explanation. Do I hear a motion to accept 5.13?
Like to move that we accept the new amount of $310,100.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving to 6, education and services. We'll take the 3 items together as far as voting. 6.01 is the 1-year expulsion of a CAM South student. 6.02 is the 1-year expulsion of 2 CAMS North students. And 6.03 is the statement of work for 1 elementary special education student placed at New Story. Is there anything that administration wants to comment before we? Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the recommendations? If we want to have any discussion as a board, we would have to go to executive session.
Move to approve.
Second? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Yeah.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
We did have a second.
Oh.
Yeah. Miss Gauss gave a second.
I'm sorry. We need to get that microphone down for not just the public, but for all the ears that are here, too.
Just write Stephanie and then it'll be half.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no.
Okay. Moving then to finance and facilities, 7.01, budget transfer for special education. Mr. Woodman?
Yeah, at the cow, I said that Mrs. Sullivan and I would be here tonight to answer any questions and to provide some background. So at your seat, there is a paper that Sheree Sullivan gave us some facts, and I just wanted to hit some of the special ed highlights as we are looking at the budget transfer from the general fund. So these are driving factors within special education. So from October 1st, 2019 to today, we have over 300 new students with an IEP. This year, we started at our October 1st count, we had 1,525 special ed students, and today we have 1,658. So we have an increase just this year of 133 new learning support students since October 1st. The first page in the packet that Sheree Sullivan made are the numbers that we have at each school. One thing I want to highlight there is Fayetteville Elementary School, total 153 special ed students, 92 that receive resource room. That's out of the regular classroom supports. There are 9 autistic classes at Fayetteville. We also have several life skills classes and then learning support classes that are pulled out. We also have classes of autism in Scotland and Hamilton Heights as well. The second page, there are just some fast facts. 77% of the students that parents are asking to be tested at this time are qualifying for services. 53% of the move-ins that are special ed need intensive supports, and there are some of the list of the intensive supports. They may need personal care assistance. You've approved a lot of nursing services over the last year and a half. Students that are visually impaired, have seizures, and even some complex health needs like feeding tubes and catheterizations. We currently, our numbers are a little bit up at the FLC. We have 86 students at the Franklin Learning Center that's run by the LIU. And currently this year, another change is that we are paying for 11 PCAs there, where the LIU used to provide us the personal care assistance at the Franklin Learning Center. We now are paying for out-of-contracted services for 11 of those, and we will continue to pay for those in the future. The third page starts off with some, over the past 3 years, you've approved several contracted speech and language needs and services, and that number is up. We have 660 students right now. And when I was going over this with Tammy, she goes, that's an entire class, graduating class in our district, to put that into scope. But 660 students need IEP, you have an IEP for speech services. And then the last chart on that page is some fast facts from the Penn data that they take from our system. And you also have 2012-13 data to compare to 2022-23 data. Our percent this year is now, this year at the current, out of all of our students, 17% are students that are have an IEP. We're still slightly below the state average, and you can see last year's data, we exceeded the state averages in students with autism, students that are ID, which is intellectually disabled, that would be students with an IQ below 50, and speech and language impairments. And the last 2 pages, as I said, are a comparison look for you to look from 2012-13 school year to our last Penn data report. They're always a year behind, 22-23. They're 10 years apart. And if you look at our overall enrollment for our district, we're up 500 students from 2012-13 school year to 2022-23, and we're up 500 students from that time with students with IEPs. And we, in 2012-13, we were 11.3% of our students had an IEP, and currently we sit at 17.2% today. I did bring Sheree Sullivan if you have any specific questions. And the one thing I want to say is that we spent a tremendous amount of time with the business office, especially Danette Knowlton, Tammy, and that's going to be Sheree Sullivan, myself, and my secretary, Denise Fike, looking at the trends and adjusting our budget. So we're we've adjusted that, and we shouldn't be coming to any transfers this high anymore. Special ed is always going to be a moving target, so not going to say that we're not going to come yearly and ask for something that may need to be transferred, but it won't be at this level like we've seen the last 3 years. So, and I don't know if you have any questions. I know we gave you a lot of data there, and it's something you could take along. About a little over a year ago in one of our either finance or one of our committees, we gave a presentation on special ed that Cherie gave. So we have 3 new board members tonight, so fire away if you have any questions. Or if you want to hold them and ask us later, you can certainly do that.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the budget transfer for special education?
I'll move to approve.
Second? Second. We have any discussion? Okay, call for the vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I've just got one question for Kurt, please. So, yeah, I see the growth in autism in our district, and it's like that nationwide throughout the state as well. But regardless of what end of the spectrum they're on, someone that's mildly autistic, someone that's, you know, on the other end, it's all the same cost per student, right?
No, I wouldn't say that. It depends on the need. You may have a student that has very, very high needs. We have, classrooms or adults that may have 2 or 3 adults with one student. One may be a physical therapist, one may be a nurse. So it really depends. I mean, that's part of the individual education plan. It's really individualized.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of students. We're seeing a lot more students with a lot higher needs. I would have to ask Sri how many of, we call them our verbal behavior classrooms in students of autism. Some of our students don't even speak. Mm-hmm. And they have more adults in those classrooms. Our autistic classrooms in the elementary have a limit. The state puts a limit of 8 students. And generally you'll have 1 teacher and 2 aides in there. And even on top of that, some of the students may require someone to assist them on top of that. So the cost is wide ranging. It's tough to say this is the cost per student with autism or this is the cost of a student with just a speech IEP, because even those services are, you might have a student that has much higher needs that needs to be seen, every day with their speech therapy, or a student may only need once a month.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Mr. Hayduck may be thinking of the cyber charter schools that get a flat amount of money regardless of the need of the student. And so if it's a very low need, they get the same amount as if it's a high need. Is that not correct?
Now that part is correct, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that might be where you got that concept of it costs the same for everybody. Okay. 8.0, policy and legislation, there's nothing. 9.0, safety and security, there's nothing. Any comments from board members for the good of the meeting? Any reports from any of the committees that you attend individually?
I have been going to the LIU, and there are some things in the works there. Dr. West is retiring. He is the current executive director. He is retiring at the end of this year, 2024. And we are currently getting ready to start a search to find someone to replace him. They're going to be looking at different people to help us embark upon that, much like whenever we did the superintendent search here. So they are looking locally, and I believe it's actually, depending on the presentations that we get in April, they might be looking a little wider than that to get someone to come in and be the new executive director of the LIU. Dr. Trail will stay on as the assistant, but we are looking for someone to come in as the executive director. So we start that process in April. So that's something that you will be seeing and probably hearing about as we go through that. And once we name someone, just to let you guys know, there's a plan, and Dr. West has agreed that if we would not be able to find someone, that he would stay on, until we find someone that we're comfortable with, that everyone feels is going to be able to come in and take over. And I mean, that's a very complicated position, I think would be the way to say it. I'm sure there's a lot of work that goes into that. I'm just getting my feet wet in that, as with this. I did have the opportunity to tour the Franklin Learning Center last week. And if you've not done that, wow. That just hits you. The people that work there, the teachers and the aides and everyone that's in that building, the heart that they must have for these children, I mean, it is just, I don't know that I could do that, but they are so kind and so caring. And there was a young man that was having a little bit of a hard day, and just to watch them all just work together like a family to make sure that he was taken care of was just an experience that, if you've not been in there to see what they're doing and the ways that they are utilizing what they have, and really, it's just an experience. I can't say it any other way. So, I mean, I would highly recommend, if you get the opportunity to go to the Learning Center and see what wonderful things that they're doing there, highly recommended. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Any other reports or comments? Okay. If there's no further business, I'd call attention to the information items at the end of the agenda. The district enrollment, again, the enrollment at all the elementary schools in all grades are within a +1 of the administration caps again this month. The minutes from the Franklin Learning Center January 25th meeting are posted there, and also a notice of the disposal of a trash compactor at Cassius are included at the end of the agenda. If there's no further business for the meeting is adjourned, and thank you for attending.